You're listening to the Teach Better Talk podcast featuring expert educators eager to share progressive tactics to reach more students. Teach Better Talk is created by teachers and fueled by passion. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 56 of Teach Better Talk. My name is Ray Hewart and I am with the gregarious Jeff Gargett.
Gregarious?
Yes, absolutely. I picked that one out all myself.
That's fantastic. Can you use that in a sentence other than introducing me?
I can. Gregarious. I can't even say this out laughing because I'm reading it off of the computer screen. So let's go with no, I can't use it in a sentence because I can't say it without laughing.
Well, we'll just pretend it means gorgeous.
No, here, I can tell you what it means. It's somebody who enjoys the company of others, and you are definitely that kind of person.
I am. I thought I was also gorgeous, but yes, I agree. I am very gregarious. I can't. Yeah, I said right. Gregarious. Yeah, this is a great start to this podcast episode. By the way, very, very well done. So
I have to say, Jeff, I have been laughing and like peeing my pants throughout this entire recording that we did earlier with our guest. So the fact that it's starting this way is extremely fitting to how the entire episode's going to go.
Would you like me to leave in the fact that you just said you're peeing your pants?
Well, yeah, I just think that's a fact of life. Sometimes people do that. It's fine. It's from laughing too hard.
This episode was an awesome episode. Like, I'm so excited for people to get into it. Like, super, just passion. I want to take just a second to remind everyone and mention really quick about the Teach Better conference.
Ooh, I love
Ray,
that
I'm
we were
not
talking
sure
about
if you're
this.
familiar, but we're having a conference in November.
We are.
November 8th and 9th. It's a Friday, Saturday, 2-day conference. We've got some awesome educators coming out. So we've got Dave Burgess coming out. We've got Tall Tao Thompson coming out. We've got Shelly Burgess coming out. And I heard maybe like Chad Ostrowski is going to be there, and Tiffany Ott and Ray Hewart.
Yeah, are you going to go, Jeff?
I'm going to be there. I think I'll be there. I think I'll make an appearance, yes. So super excited. We have a few others that we also have that we're not mentioning just yet.
We can't spill the beans on all those people.
Yeah, we're not going to yet. But more importantly, what I hope we have is a whole bunch of you listening right now. I hope we have you coming, either to just come and learn and connect and grow and network and just have an awesome time with us, or be super awesome if you came and presented. So we still have proposals open right now, and those close. When do they close? When's the deadline, Ray?
April 26th.
April 26th.
You need to submit your proposal by April 26th.
So it's the 4th right now, so you got a couple weeks to get that proposal in, and then we're going to be bringing you up. We really hope you'll take time, submit some of the awesomeness that you're doing in your classrooms so that we can share that, and hopefully we can bring you out. We have had an awesome response so far to the conference as far as proposals. Some really cool sessions that are going to be happening from teachers from all over the country, which is great. I love the fact that we're bringing them in from everywhere, as well as some local ones too here in Northeast Ohio where the conference is going to be. Super excited about that. Really excited. So make sure you head over to teachbetterconference.com to get that, to get your proposal. That's right when you log on there and do that. And Ray, I want to touch real quick, and then we're going to get into the episode. But if I'm a teacher thinking about submitting my proposal, do I have to have presented a bunch of times?
Absolutely not. I was going to say, Jeff, one of the most common questions I've gotten actually since we talked about this on the last podcast is educators that are really nervous to submit a proposal. They want to make sure that their idea is what we're looking for. They want to make sure that they do the best job they possibly can. And the fact is you guys present all the time. You're in front of students, and I know it feels a little different to present at a conference versus a classroom, but it really is not different at all. So if you've never presented before, or maybe you present, like full-time, regardless of your experience, we'd love to have you. And when you're thinking about a topic that you think we might be interested in, the fact is that if you're passionate about it, we want to hear about it. So that could be something as so small as a tech tool that you just have loved using with your students. It's changed something in your classroom dramatically, to an aha moment you've had recently, to maybe an enormous transformation you've done in your classroom over the past few years, trying to reach your students, and you just want to share about your experience. Whatever it is, feel free to submit. I've had a lot of people since, I think it was episode 51, we talked about this, that they were brainstorming titles. And I have gotten so many emails of people with such catchy, fun titles. So we are so excited to hear about your proposal and see it coming through. And I just can't wait to read all of them, Jeff. I'm so excited.
And you touched on this. I'm going to touch on it really quick. Please feel free to hit either Ray or I up at Ray Hewitt or at Jeff Gargas if you have an idea and you run it by us. Like she just said, we've been having these conversations. I had someone send me a whole slide deck of ideas that they had, and we went through them and picked out the ones that I thought were the coolest and that she was the most passionate about and stuff. So we're here, we're ready to talk with you and do that. But my biggest thing is just submit it, man. If you think it's awesome, do it, because it's probably awesome. So love it. So let's talk about this episode, Ray, because this episode was just, I'm going to say legit, because he used the word legit a lot, and I love it. It was so passionate. So we talked with Joe Sanfelippo, and Joe's a superintendent in Wisconsin, and man, I mean, the pride that he carries of his district was just made me smile. I think I actually said during the episode that I was just smiling for like ever. The way he talks about what they're doing there is just so awesome, and the things that they're doing in their district are really amazing as well. He used the phrase "crushing it" again and again and again. He literally said the phrase "best job ever," which I loved. We got to talk on that. And I loved one of the things he said, Ray. If you remember this, he said it's not just about hiring the right people, but you have to hire the right people and then give them the opportunity to get better. And he talks about how he does that, how you can do that. And I just thought that was awesome.
Yeah, one of my favorite moments, and you guys made fun of me horribly, by the way, in the episode, but was when he shared his 6 questions in 15 seconds or less for each answer, his daily, weekly, or monthly routine that it was one of my favorite ones that we've heard in a while. It's so simple to do, but made such a huge impact. And while it did digress into then let's make fun of Ray because she interrupted because she loved what his comment was, too bad, so sad. It was a great comment. So make sure you listen very carefully during that point in time, not while they're making fun of me, but at his actual answer, because that is a daily routine I hope you all choose to get into.
If you don't listen to anything else, listen to when we're making fun of him of her because Joe and I had a blast, and it's probably the best minute and a half of podcast you've ever listened to. No,
I'm a very nice person. I shouldn't be picked on.
You are. No, this was an awesome episode, really. So we're gonna get into it. This is a passion-filled episode that is going to get you so pumped up. And I'm telling you right now, like if you listen to this episode and you are not pumped up about what you do, you should really consider changing jobs. Like, I don't mean to be like that bold, but
wow,
that's
that was a little blunt, Jeff.
How about
reach out to us for support?
I've actually heard other people say that when you hear Joe speak live, that if you're not pumped up to go back to your classroom, you should probably quit because he is so filled with passion. I'm telling you, man. If you don't get, I'm jacked up, and I don't even have a classroom to go back to, but I want to go to my classroom and teach, and I don't have one to go to. I'm coming to your classroom tomorrow, Ray.
Oh my gosh, I would love to have you, and let's get into this episode.
All right, so we are here and we are talking with Joe Sanfelippo. And Joe, super excited to talk with you tonight. I know you had a full day at work and now you're here with us, so we really appreciate your time. We appreciate you taking some time to hang out with us and share some stories with us tonight. But before we get going at all, man, how are you feeling right now?
Man, we're crushing it. I'm telling you, we are living the dream in Fall Creek, Wisconsin. Go Crickets, and having a wonderful, wonderful opportunity this year. We got great kids, we got great teachers. It's just like being part of this whole environment and community is something extremely special. Very lucky, very lucky.
Joe, I was so excited that you were coming on Teach Better Talk because we bumped into each other a few times in February. And so it's nice to actually have some time to talk and get to know you a little bit better.
Well, I don't know. It gets worse as you go on, Ray. Honestly,
oh, no.
I'm pretty good from afar, but you get closer, it's just not a good situation.
That's all right, Joe. I set it up so there's really nothing you can do worse than what she deals with from me. So you're good.
I don't know. My expectations are pretty high here. I feel like I should take a seat back. I don't know.
We gotta send you out for a while, Ray. This is tough.
I'll take care of this one, Ray.
I get to start with the best question, and this is just for us to tell you a little bit more about yourself. I know that Jeff gave you a great introduction earlier on, but when somebody asks you what you do, what's your typical response?
I have the best job ever. I get a chance I'm the superintendent in the Fall Creek School District, home of the Fall Creek Crickets, And I get a chance to work with incredible teachers and students on a daily basis. I mean, this community has a tremendous amount of pride invested in it, and to be out here and be able to help tell their stories and really kind of help create a buzz for the work that they do is nothing short of spectacular. So I get a chance to be in that realm, and I couldn't be happier doing it.
So best job ever is what I heard.
Mhm.
But I'm gonna assume, and I'm just assuming. We know what happens when you assume sometimes, Joe. But
Right,
I'm gonna assume that every day is not perfect, and there are some ups and downs. Am I correct in assuming that?
Absolutely, yeah, for sure.
So let's talk. I wonder if you can maybe share a story with us. Take us to a time, one of those down moments. Let's talk about a time that you've maybe had a failure or tripped and fell on your face, whatever it might be. Can you tell us about a time that you've had a failure and sort of what happened, why it was a failure to you, and then how did you overcome that, and what did you take away from that?
So I think first of all, like being a superintendent's not a great job. Let's be clear about that. Like there's a distinct difference from being a superintendent and being a superintendent in Fall Creek, Wisconsin. Like I have a tremendous school board, I have a tremendous community, we have a tremendous staff and really great kids. And so that makes the job of the superintendency manageable. At the same time, it's something that we love doing that job here. I was talking about, this is my eighth superintendent year, I think. Yeah, eighth superintendent year. And when we got to Fall Creek, I was the fifth superintendent in 6 years. And I think a lot of people felt like we were just going to stay a couple years and then go try to do something else and whatever. And my wife was very, very clear about our situation here. And she said, you can be the superintendent in Fall Creek, Wisconsin, but we're not going to do this whole thing where we're bouncing all over the place. So I don't care what you have to do, like just do your job really, really well. And I think that's kind of the way that it's worked out for us. We've had a tremendous amount of success here. And I think a lot of times the success is in the storytelling and what we can do to make sure that we're telling the story of our school and connecting with people outside of the community. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that we're perfect in the work that we do. I mean, we have failures every day. We struggle, with time. We struggle with making sure that we're making the connection with kids. We struggle with what innovation looks like and what it doesn't look like. We struggle with all of that stuff. But when it comes down to the stories that we tell and the work that we get out there, we really want to celebrate the idea that these kids and these teachers are doing amazing work all the time. So when it comes to like a failure, I don't know if I have like one in particular that really resonates, but I will tell you that every single failure that I've had results from me not being a great listener in the moment, without question. Like I think a lot of times I'll either move too fast, or I'll make decisions without getting everybody's input, or I'll just think that that we're just going to go for it, and I don't take all the information in before making the decision. So every single time that I've failed, it's because I shouldn't say it like that. The vast majority of times that I've personally failed, it's because I haven't done the work up front to listen to everybody involved before making a decision. And I think as leaders, we got to figure out, we're here to serve people, right? We're here to serve the public. We're here to serve our community. We're here to serve our teachers and our students. At the same time, that the service piece that we're talking about also means that you're a listener first before you go anywhere else. And then when I forget that, that's when I fail.
I love that, because I like, you're just hitting me right in the heart, because it's the same thing with me, and I always try so hard to focus on that listening part. Don't be thinking about what you're going to say next. Don't think you have all the answers. Talk to your team, talk to people that you're serving, talk to people that you're working with, and listen. And that was the two big things I heard in there. Well, first off, I love just how passionately you speak. Like, it's like as soon as we say the words of your district, you just you can feel you just lighting up, and I love that. That's amazing. Mm-hmm. But I love, there's two things there that I think are key to leaders. And one, you mentioned it, they listen first. Mm-hmm. And then you also did this, and that's, they take accountability for everything. And you said again and again, every time it's me, I'm not listening, I'm doing that. And I love that, because then you're taking that in and learning from that and taking that out to your team. So that's awesome, man. I really appreciate that.
Hey everyone, we're going to get right back to the episode, but I did want to remind you that if you haven't yet submitted a proposal for the Teach Better Conference this November 8th and 9th, you have to go do it. The proposals are closing at the end of the month, and I want to make sure that you get your voice heard. You are doing incredible things in your classroom, and we would love to have you as a presenter at Teach Better Conference this November 8th and 9th. Head over to teachbetterconference.com and share your ideas. All right, let's get back to the episode.
So now let's flip it, because I know you got a lot of these, and I'm excited to hear it. Let's talk about a successful moment that you've had. And this can be something big or something small, but tell us what happened. Why was it a success for you? And then what'd you take away from that experience?
Yeah, I think the biggest success for me is that there are people all over the country right now that know that what's happening in Fall Creek, Wisconsin. And people, we are an 850 student school district in Northwest Wisconsin. We are one building, kindergarten kids through 12th grade kids, all in the same building. And people all over the world are talking about the work that our amazing teachers do. And that's legit. Because now what happens is when we're in that spot and we can tell stories and we can get out there and do all these things that we're doing, but also celebrate this work, it gives our people incredible opportunities. So my biggest success is without question, being able to go to places, go to conference, go to all these places. And when I take people with us, when we go to these things, there are people from all over the conference, all over the country that know our people and that ask our people question, and they want Go Crickets gear, and they want to ask what's going on in the building, and they want them to speak to their staff, and they want to talk about their kids. Like, that's awesome, because my people are crushing it. They're crushing it. And they deserve to be recognized on a national stage for the work that they're doing. So every time that we get to go out and speak and talk about the incredible things that are happening in Fall Creek, Wisconsin, and I have our group with us, they get celebrated too. And I sit back. Like I always tell them, like, the only thing that I want for you is I want you to feel the way that I feel when I talk about you. And if you feel the way that I feel when I talk about you, then you'll be able to move mountains. Because I'll tell you, every time I talk about these people, every time I connect and talk about the incredible things that they're doing, I just get so jacked up about the way that they're changing the lives of the kids in this district.
Gosh, the energy. Love it. You know, I want to point on something that you have consistently focused on in your answers is this focus of leadership, not just your leadership, but allowing your group, your teachers, your staff, your administration to be leaders, to be vocals, to celebrate the amazing things they're doing. I don't know that we see that a lot in education. I wish we saw more of it.
Yeah, I do too. But here's the thing. Like, I think what it comes down to is if, like, I don't have, first of all, I don't have all the answers. I'm not very smart. So I just got to surround myself with really good people. And I think we all do that. But here's the thing. I think a lot of people say, well, you know, let's hire the right people and get out of the way. We don't do that. Don't do that. That's not what you're here for. You're here to hire the right people, but you're here to also provide them with the opportunity to get better. Every time that we put something forward in this district, we always talk about it in threes. We always talk about it in time, resource, opportunity. If we're not going to provide time, resource, and opportunity for them to get better, then we're not doing it. We're not doing it. We can't. Because our people are already busy enough. And if something's going to come on their plate, something's going to have to come off their plate. And we got to empower our group to be willing to do that. And I will tell you, like, when we started doing that with PD, when we started taking PD and we turned PD into Genius Hour here. So our people do passion projects instead. I mean, so what do you want to do? Do you want to do a passion project, or do you want to do a professional development reflection? Like, what do you want to do, right? So our people just pick something that they're passionate about. They get better throughout the course of the year. And then at the end of the year, instead of giving me some reflection that they could, like, literally Google and copy and paste to a document, they have to demonstrate their learning to their colleagues. We have a street fair, man. So when we have a street fair and we got people out demonstrating their own learning to the people to their colleagues, they can't fake that. They can't fake that. No way. You can fake anything to me in my office sitting here on a Saturday reading through stuff. There's no chance you can fake your learning to your colleagues. They will call you out every time.
Wow. Can you tell us more about how you structure that Genius Hour? I love that idea. This is our purpose, Jeff. This is what we talk about all the time with the Teach Better team is how can you personalize your teacher's education, because we're personalizing things in the classroom. And yet you go to most professional development, Joe, I'm sure you've seen it, and it's sitting in rows and it's a sit and get mentality.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, see, that just doesn't work. And probably because I'm super Well, I don't focus well. So we needed to find something that kept people's interest, and I just couldn't talk to people for more than 25 minutes at a time without myself getting bored of my own voice. So here's what we did. So here's the thing. What we wanted to do was create a system that was built by teachers for teachers. And we took 6 people in our building, 2 from each building, and I just said to them, listen, I just need you to get better. I don't care what you build, but I need you to get better. And I'll provide time and resource and opportunity for you to do that, but I need you to get better. However you do that, you just need to be better tomorrow than you were today, right? That's the answer to all the stuff that we're talking about is, are you getting any better? It doesn't matter if you get better 1 step, 2 steps, 10 steps. It doesn't matter. You just got to get better. And so that's all I said to them. And then they built this system where you have you decide on what your passion project is for the year, how you're going to get better as an instructor, what kind of timeline you're going to utilize throughout the course of the year to get better, and then how you're going to demonstrate that learning for your colleagues at the end of the year. And so we give days throughout the course of the year that are just total goal days. Now, they've been a little bit subdued this year just because of the snow days, which has been really tough for us. And we can talk about that in a little bit because it's taken away a day that I just despise that we have to take it away. But anyway, but they'll go out, and so they get days throughout the course of the year that are just goal days, and the only agenda item is lunch. Okay, and so you get the whole day to dive into your stuff. And I tell them the only way that you can do professional growth days wrong is by grading papers or organizing your classroom, because you're not getting better grading papers or organizing your classroom. But now listen, are there people in Fall Creek, Wisconsin that on these days grade papers or organize their classroom? Probably. I don't go checking on them, but probably. But guess what? We're not making decisions there. We're making decisions based on our best people, and our best people want to get better. And if I just tell them, you want to get better, we'll help you get better. So then at the end of the year, instead of turning in that document, that reflection, we have a street fair. And not only do we have a street fair where we have we demonstrate all the stuff out and you have to demonstrate to your colleagues, and we rotate so everybody gets a chance to see everybody's project that they want, but we also live stream it. And so last year we put the live stream out, and 21,000 people watched the live stream. And we had people from all over the country asking our people questions about their learning. So when you get your people into a gym and you got a live stream going and people from all over the country asking about their passion projects, the audience changes. And when the audience changes, the effort changes every single time.
Wow. Did you hear that, Jeff? He said our mantra.
I was just going to say, be better today than you were yesterday. Be better tomorrow than you were today. It's literally on my wall.
Nice. Then you're winning. You're winning every day. I love it, man.
I love the passion, dude. Like, I'm just like smiling the entire time over it. I'm like so freaking pumped. I want Go Crickets gear. Like, I want it right now. We're going to talk after, Joe. I'm getting it. Like, I want a hoodie. I don't even care what colors. I'm in, dude. I'm coming to Wisconsin. Let's do this.
Well, Joe, I want to ask you, obviously you have a lot that gets you excited, but in terms of how education is going, all the amazing things you're working on, what's your biggest focus right now? What's getting you most excited about what's going on in education and the direction it's moving?
I think that in general, I think the personalization of for the adults is getting much better. I really do. I think people are starting to get it. So here's what, and let me just kind of bring it back to, what excites me, and I'll tell you why it excites me. So the thing that was really important to us is we kept talking to our staff about how we want to personalize learning for kids, right? Personalized learning for kids. And we want everybody to have ownership of the process and everything that goes along with it. Well, you know what? Sometimes you have to show the adults what that looks like. And as soon as we showed the adults what it looked like, and we gave them the opportunity to own their own learning, then guess what happened in the classrooms? It just transferred to kids, because it wasn't that they didn't want to do it. They just didn't know how. And when they felt it, then all of a sudden they could transfer it to what they're doing. And I think, we take surveys at the end of the year in terms of, is this process working for you to get better as a teacher? Our number has never gone below 94% satisfaction. Never. Agree or strongly agree that this makes them a better teacher. Never. And when you're pulling those numbers, that means they own their learning. Now, if that doesn't transfer to any student ownership of learning, now we have to have a conversation. But to see what happens because adults own their learning, and I can see middle school kids that are creating documentaries for the village of Fall Creek. So I can see middle school kids that are building businesses with social teams and marketing and everything that goes along. Middle school kids, when I can see high school kids launching air balloons into space. I mean, this stuff is legit. And the more that it all stems from the idea that we're allowing people to own their learning. And when they own their learning, they know what it feels like. And when they know what it feels like, they want it for other people.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, my focus and just not only the teachers I've been able to work with, but just with my students, the impact I've been able to see when you start leading a classroom with that student ownership component, the magic that's created, you couldn't create yourself. You need to have that mentality to reach that level. It's incredible.
Mm-hmm. Well, I 100% agree.
Well, so I guess I want to flip this a little bit. Whenever we have administrators, and I'm sorry to label you, but I just love when we have superintendents, whatever. It is what it is. I like to ask the question about our new teachers, our teachers that are maybe not so new to the profession, maybe new to a building, or maybe they've been in the classroom forever and they are just really eager to change and eating up all the excitement on this episode so far. What advice do they need to continue forward in this direction where, we're really changing the game of education? It's no longer rows with a person in front as the most knowledgeable person in the room, but we're really changing not only the look of education, but the full experience and focusing on what our students need most. What advice do those teachers need?
So I think the first piece of advice that we need to give to teachers is that you are changing lives and what you're doing is unbelievable. Let's just think about this logistically. All right. So if the average parent has 2.4 kids, and in our infinite wisdom, we're going to put 22.6 more in a room and expect one adult to move them academically, emotionally, make them feel safe, make them believe that they can. If you don't start with the idea that you're changing lives, you're completely missing the point, because that's what you're doing. You're changing these people's outlook. You're making people believe that they can. That's the thing that you have to keep in mind. So before you even think about what's going to happen next, you better believe that you can change somebody's life the minute that you walk into that classroom, because all of these interactions matter when it comes down to it. And all interactions matter because we just don't know which one they're going to, they'll remember you. I promise you're going to be remembered. I promise you that. The question becomes, how are you going to be remembered? And a lot of times, all these interactions matter because we don't know which one they're going to take away from them and talk about in 10 years. So the advice that I give to people first and foremost is make sure that you realize that you're changing lives. The second piece is make sure that you understand that every interaction matters, because every interaction could be the one that they talk about for the rest of their lives. And third is to make sure that you have a group of people that are willing to take this journey with you. This is an incredibly isolating job, incredibly isolating if you let it. And when it gets to be isolating, it gets to be really lonely. If you don't have anybody that's willing to kind of buy into your craziness and go along this journey with you, then you're going to have a hard time. And guess what? You're going to feel isolated. You're going to feel by yourself, and you're going to go home, and that's going to impact your family at home. It's going to impact the people at school, and you just can't have that. You cannot do this work alone.
Oh, geez. I love it. And that's such a key piece of why we wanted to start this podcast too, was to help, just another way of trying to connect people so that they don't have to be alone, because you don't always have it right down the hallway, and you need to be able to reach out. And with today, with the technology we have and social media, there's no reason to not be alone, or to be alone. You can reach out and connect in so many different ways. I love that you touch on that. That's awesome. I do want to, and I don't want to label you as an admin either, but you are in an administrative position. So there's this thing, we get to work with a lot of districts around the country, and we get to work with both the teachers and the admin teams. So we kind of see both sides of it. And unfortunately, we see in a lot of districts, there's sort of a, for lack of a better word, sort of a gap or disconnect between the two, because sometimes that admin team's the team that's telling you to do new things and to do this and whatever. And so I always like to ask, when we get a superintendent or a principal or something like that on the show, if you could tell on behalf of all admins, to tell one thing to teachers and one thing that you want them to know about admins, what would that be?
Well, I think the first thing that everybody needs to understand is, like, everybody's going through something. right?
Mhm.
Like everybody answers to someone or some group. People don't know that I answer to a group of 5 people that don't have they're not in the school every day,
Mhm.
but these 5 people, these board members are my boss. And so essentially what happens, what they hear outside of this place is what they're going to judge because that's what they hear. And I think a lot of people judge based on, what ends up happening more often than not is that people judge you based on what their experience was the last time they were in that space, right? So like
Mhm.
we got people talking about schools and things that happened 25 years ago like they happened yesterday, when people get jacked up that they didn't get a second chicken sandwich at lunch or got put against the wall at recess or got a grade they didn't deserve. They're going to tell that story over and over until we get to the point that we're willing to have the conversation about the great things that are happening. And I don't understand how we don't have that conversation with people. Like maybe it's the fact that we're a service organization, that we serve communities, that we serve the public, that we serve the people. Like service and silence aren't the same thing. And if you don't start talking about the great things that are happening, then you fall victim to everybody's perception of what happened to them 25 years ago when they went through it. And guess what? These are the same people that are making decisions at the legislative level because they don't know exactly what's happening in your space. So they're basing their decisions on what happened to them when they were in school. And we can be upset about that all we want, but that's real. So if we're not in this spot where we're talking about the great things that are happening, then we're in a spot where we're always catching up. So my advice to the administrators in that spot is that your job gets made a heck of a lot easier when you're willing to celebrate the great work that's happening in your space. You make the people feel better. You make yourself feel better because you know that you're creating an environment that has impact, and you get a chance to impact the community outside of your school because now they get a chance to see what's actually happening, not what happened to them 25 years ago.
I'm so glad I asked that question. That was awesome. That was perfect.
Good.
That's good stuff. All right, let's have, not that we haven't had fun already, but let's have some fun here. We're going to do the next 6 questions, and your goal, your challenge is to answer each one in 15 seconds or less.
Oh,
ready to roll?
Okay, I'm ready. Bring it.
All right, what is one ed tech tool you cannot live without?
Twitter.
What is one book that you're reading right now?
The Trust Edge, David Horsiger.
And you mentioned Twitter. Who do we need to follow on Twitter today?
Oh.
Give me one. Give me one. That's the hardest part.
Jimmy Casas.
Ooh, good one. What's the best YouTube channel for educators?
Anything that has to do with celebrating the work of schools.
Give us one daily, weekly, or monthly routine every teacher should get into.
Writing 2 positive notes to kids or making 1 positive call to a kid every day to end your day.
And what is
I agree.
I know
You're wasting my time. Ray, this is my time. Ray, I got 15 seconds. What are you doing? I need to win this. What are you doing?
What is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Best piece of advice I ever received was from one of my professors in college, and she said that I want to make sure that I get it right. I want to because she was, I know. The greatest gift of service that you can give to another human being is for the time that you're with them, they are the center of your universe.
Awesome one. I think you nailed it if Ray wouldn't have messed it up for you.
That's right.
That's
okay. Well, I just don't want her name is Nancy Blair, and she teaches at Cardinal Stritch University in Milwaukee. And she's I'll tell you, tens of thousands of dollars for a doctoral program, man. That's all I remember. I'm telling you right now, it's worth it. So I want to make sure that I get it right because that's a pretty expensive quote, man.
Well, that's that moment you were talking about that you never know what moment it is that's going to stick, right? All that money spent and the time you spend studying with your face and books and studying and crunching and everything, and that's one of the biggest things you take away. Like that's exactly what you said earlier. Like you never know what it is that's going to stick. That's awesome.
I know, but she could have emailed me. Okay, let's be clear about that. It's a lot of money, boy. It's a lot of money.
Well, it was a good quote, made for a great quote on our podcast. So I think it was well worth it, Joe. I don't know.
And you can have the trophy for winning and answering the questions the fastest.
Yeah, Ray, that's what I'm talking about. I love it.
We'll just ship it to you. Expect it in the mail. Okay, Teach Better Talk trophy.
I'll be looking for it every day, and I'm in the mail. I'll be ready for it. It may not get here because of the snow and whatever, but that's fine.
Well, Joe, I have to say that I might have the most important question of the evening, and that has to do with how everyone here can continue the conversation and connect with you. I know that, it was I don't mean to embarrass you, but it was really an honor to meet you in February. I've been following you on social media for a very long time. I think on every social media platform, I have found my way to connect with you. And it's been a really great experience with all the content you push out and insight you share. So I want to make sure our listeners have that exposure as well. So would you mind sharing how our listeners can connect with you?
I think probably the best way is just, I'm at Joe_Sanfelippo, Sanfelippo, on Twitter and Instagram. And I think that's probably, that's kind of where I spend most of my time, in terms of connecting with people. You can get jsanfelippo.com if you want to connect there. Or I do 1 minute walk to work. People seem to like those. Those have been kind of fun to do. So I literally live 1 minute from my school. So I walk to school, but it's literally 1 minute. And so we've been doing this 1 minute walk to work. And that's kind of been a fun way to think about some of the things that, leaders can do just a little bit differently.
I love your 1 minute walks. It's awesome. Such a great use of that and creative, but very, very valuable. So, you can find all the resources and everything we've mentioned and talked about with Joe over in the show notes at teachbetter.com, as well as those really important links. We'll have all the links to connect with him into his website and everything over there. So make sure you head over to teachbetter.com for all of that. Be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss any of the upcoming episodes. And if you can give us a rating and a review, we'd really appreciate that. And if you could please think of a couple people and share this podcast with them. Tell them that it's the best podcast in the whole world, because a whole bunch of you are listening and you haven't subscribed and you haven't shared it with people. And I'm telling you right now, Ray is watching you and she's paying attention and she's going to come get you. So
you make me sound so scary.
I do, don't I?
You're a little scary, Ray. You're a little scary. I was totally intimidated walking into that room to meet you this year.
Well, and you also officially earned the title of ruining Joe's time person.
That's
Whoa.
right. That's
not a very good title. I'm going to think a better title, but that's what I got.
When you send the trophy, I'm going to put a Sharpie on it and then send it back and send it back to Ray as the time killer over there.
Where it says champion, you're going to scribble with I'm going to write in almost. If not for Ray, champion.
If not for Ray. That makes perfect sense. I'll be waiting for that. Thing's going to go right on the wall. I love it. Right next to all the Go Cricket stuff.
What I'll do, Joe, is I'm going to send you a box, and it's going to have a note on the top of the box, and it says, Joe, your trophy is here. Congratulations. And when you open it up, there's going to be a note, and it just says stolen by Ray.
I love it.
Is the podcast over yet?
No.
Are we still recording?
B-roll time, baby. B-roll time.
No, all right. So we are finishing up. No, Joe, seriously, this was an awesome episode, man. Really appreciate you just sharing everything. Your passion is just ridiculously infectious. It's been so much value in this episode. I'm so excited for people to hear it. Really, truly appreciate you taking some time out of your day after a long day at work, and just hanging out with us and sharing your stories with them, man. We really appreciate it.
We appreciate the time. It's always great to tell stories of what's happening here. So I hope you guys have a wonderful night, and go Crickets.
And until next time, let's get out there and let's teach better.